there's at least one person who wants to show a slide. Is Dan right here? Okay. But also I want to remind you that tomorrow I will send out an update on the SBAG listserv, which I believe if you aren't on the listserv, it's not being updated. I mean, we are not able to add people right now because the people who do that are all currently on furlough. I will send out a thing to the listserv on what the schedule for tomorrow morning is. But just to let you know, oops, sorry about that. We will start with at 8:30 with Lindley Johnson doing a half hour of Q&A from the headquarters perspective, to the extent that he can, to the extent that anybody really has figured out what's going on. Then the rest of the morning will be in the order suggested, although we will add Carolyn Mercer talking about the technology document that is associated with the goals document toward the end of the morning. We should finish, we should be getting to the discussing the findings and so on by about 11:30, and we should finish by noon. Is Dan here? That was...
I'm really applied for a telethon real quick.
What?
He said he had to take a telethon.
Okay. Well, we will let him come back and say what he was going to say. But comments or questions from the audience or from online?
There are a couple of questions that have been comments that got missed earlier. Sorry, Benny. This is a response to office. This is they're just wanting to make sure that planetary radar is getting supported and lobbied for, and something that has been supported for a while.
Okay, so let me repeat. Actually, why don't you come up here?
This is an online comment from the Apostles discussion about just wanting to make sure. Okay, we're going to deal with that later. Just wanting to make sure that planetary radar is continuing to get supported by SBAG, and also with respect to Apostles in particular. And then I guess there's one other comment from the online, since I have the floor, just with response to with discussion about the SBAG committee, just some discussion about making it clear that how the committee members are supported for their travel. So I think that just is something else to add to that discussion.
Yes, and members of the committee, their travel is supported by NASA. Okay. So being on the committee will not cost you money. Other questions?
Yeah.
Meg?
Yeah, probably, yeah. It came up in sort of the coffee break that two things are not very clear that maybe can help with one diversity anticipation is that one, it's not very clear if someone wants to present something in SBAG, how they can get it on the agenda. It's not very clear on the website when you contact. Also, SBAG findings or input from the community on the draft findings don't go to the pen. Or to the DPS newsletter. And so that would be a really good place to be reminding people about what the committee is doing by having those kind of things placed there as well, you know, beyond just advertising for new member slots when those open.
Okay, yeah, and so the one question was about putting draft findings on the PEN or the DPS newsletter, which is a good idea. We send them out to the SBAG listserv, which we hope people will sign up for, but PEN or DPS would be good. And the other, my brain slipped.
If you look at the website, it's not very clear if people think about it, they want to present that stuff.
Oh, yes.
How, and for anything, you know, good information on the website, like the news.
Okay, yeah, so information on presenting, yeah, and the decisions on what to have at the meeting are made by the steering committee. That is why we have a steering committee. But having something on the website would be good. Good point. Other questions, comments? Okay.
So, Kristen John, a colleague of mine, she couldn't be here. She unfortunately had to, with the shutdown, things got a little bit wonky. She couldn't be here. She's hoping to be here for the open mic. But Mark Fries is here as well. She may come tomorrow and hopefully just maybe give an update on one of the payloads that our team is developing, led by Kristen. Mark and I are sort of advisors, but this is a follow-on to the SBAG20 experiment that was flown on the International Space Station. This was a microgravity experiment for regolith particle simulants. This was in consortium with University of Maryland, University of Central Florida, and we've now developed Hermes, which is set for delivery early this year, and then hopefully flight this summer on the International Space Station. And then it will be opened up for other payloads to be flown on Hermes. Hermes is a facility, and I encourage people to come and listen to what Kristen may have to say, maybe tomorrow if we can squeeze her in, talk about that facility, because it's directly relevant to small valley regolith science and maybe surgery.
Okay, so Kristen John is of JSC, right? Yeah, is working on Hermes, which is a follow-on to SBAG20, a microgravity experiment involving regolith and that sort of thing on the space station. So we will try to slip that in sometime tomorrow. We have had a presentation on that before, I do believe.
Right, she did that. We just got updates on.
Yeah. Okay. And there comes Dan. Did you have something you wanted to say, or?
No.
I thought you did.
I have a finding that I'm going to submit to you and the steering committee.
Please use the microphone.
Okay. I have a finding that I'd like to submit to you and the steering committee about occultations. And I was actually off putting together the text right now.
Okay.
Which is where I was hiding.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a comment from online in support of not really understanding how the agenda gets put together. So I think just something for us to work on.
Yes. Okay. And we will discuss tomorrow we're having a steering committee this evening to discuss what else to propose findings on. We will talk a little bit about those at probably 11:30 tomorrow morning. What we are to, as a steering committee, believe we need to have findings on, but these are designed to be community-wide findings, so input of that nature is always appreciated. Other questions, comments? I thought you were going to say something about regolith or stimulants.
Oh, well, I was going to do that at the next SBAG meeting, give myself a reason for.
Okay. All right. Then never mind. That's just a teaser for the next SBAG meeting.
Dan, I already mentioned about Hermes.
Yeah. So.
Person may be presented.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
So one of the things that's ongoing, and I have two things, but the first one is.
Want to use this microphone so online can hear you?
So this is Paul Abel. So one of the things that, two things that have come up, and I guess it's a finding, is sort of the ongoing support for infrared survey, NeoChem. I think that's very obvious. It's something that in our community, I think is a very high priority, and I think it should be addressed again. So just a plea to the committee to consider that as a finding. I think it's extremely important. The other thing I was going to ask is, I know Patrick's in the room. So for Arecibo, and I don't know, Anne was here. I don't know if she's still here. Any news on Arecibo that possibly you can share with what the situation is? And I think that would be of interest to the community.
Patrick, or is Anne here? Patrick, can you really see Anne is here? Okay.
Not here, hiding in the back corner.
Can you hear me or?
No, yeah, come on.
Can I get a microphone? You're gonna have to repeat everything.
Yeah, it's.
And here we are, we're going back on the podium. Probably spontaneous, I'm not prepared at all.
Yeah.
So right now we're negotiating with NASA on the next budget. So we were student selectable for the next, 4 years to continue the Archivo Radar program. We're still in the middle of budget negotiations, that's not just ending. But the plan is to continue as we have been doing the past year. The telescope is still under maintenance of the hurricane, but we are observing 500 to 600 hours a year. We're about on the same level as we used to be in terms of number of asteroids.
Okay.
If you have a specific question, probably have to answer.
Okay, so for those online, the number of asteroids being observed is comparable to pre-hurricane, although there is still hurricane recovery going on. And in terms of the future funding, the proposal has been judged, has been rated selectable, and negotiations are underway for funding for the next few years. Is that a good summary?
Yes.
Okay.
For the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Should be funding.
Okay. Other questions or comments? All right, then. We're a little early, but that's okay. And a reminder that we will start at 8:30 in the morning and that the steering committee will be meeting immediately afterwards where we met yesterday evening. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for attending. Thank you for calling in.